Today's episode is presented by Texas Chainsaw Day. For one night only, on August 18th, the 4K restoration of Tobe Hooper's seminal horror masterpiece, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, will return to theaters nationwide. This special event will include a sneak peek of Chain Reactions, an upcoming documentary about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise directed by Alexander O'Philippe. This award-winning documentary features Stephen King, Patton Oswalt, Karen Kusama, Takashi Miike, and Alexandra Heller-Nicholas. The night will also include a short video produced by Bloody Disgusting, an appetizer, if you will. Don't miss your chance to see the 1974 horror classic on the big screen. Dress up as Leatherface and get your tickets now at fathom.com.
Hello everyone! The clip you're about to hear is from one of our exclusive Patreon episodes, and just like all of our other episodes, it will include major spoilers. You've officially been warned. If you'd like to hear the episode in full, just head on over to patreon.com/horrorqueers and subscribe today to get hundreds of hours of exclusive Patreon content, all for just $10 or less. Without further ado, here is your Patreon clip.
Folks, if you haven't been reading any of the sort of like lead up coverage to this show is almost as interested, if not more interested, in the corporate wars that led to one Weyland-Yutani taking control of the universe.
Oh, I would argue actually, that's a great segue, Joe, into basically Hawley's concept for the show. Because I admit, when I walked into this, I didn't know what we were going to get. And I was also kind of like, it can't really be all about the alien, because we can't just do I don't see Noah Hawley being interested in creature feature stuff week to week to week to week. And
not for 8 hours. No.
Not for 8 hours, but I will confess there is a lot more creature and specifically xenomorph stuff in that second episode that I was expecting to get, period.
100%. Yeah, I thought we were going to save a lot of this until later on. But also, you and I have questions about how the series is going to work from a timeline perspective, because it feels like this whole first season might take place over a very condensed period of time.
It does. So actually, here, let me read this quote. It's verbatim. So Hawley says, "We're telling a parallel story. I'm not actively engaging with the films themselves in terms of who's on the other end of the phone or that idea. I'm not looking to connect it to those movies, literally. I think it's more taking the elements of the original films and expanding them for my own purposes. It's remarkable how little mythology there is to a franchise that's 6 movies deep."
Oh my god, the shade. Is this like directed at Fede Alvarez? Wait, where are you pulling this from?
This is actually from an interview that Hawley did with Bloody Disgusting.
Okay.
But yeah, but he says, all we really know about the way humanity is organized is that it's built around a corporation, the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. I just expanded that to more of a corporate power struggle.
Right.
Continuing this thread, he says, "This won't be a straightforward survival horror series that puts the xenomorph front and center. I did this with Legion as well, which is to take the superpowers out of it." And everyone, if you don't know what Legion is, that's basically an X-Men story, but his version of it.
Yeah, and it is wild and kooky and completely different from everything that Fox was putting out. So it's a big recommend if you haven't checked it out, even if you just want to check out that first season.
Yeah, but I would say finish it. It does end well, but it's a binger. I wouldn't try to space things out.
Okay.
But he continues. So he goes, so what is the show? Take the monsters out of it. What is the show? It has to be a great dramatic show. Then you go, and there are monsters. So that's the bonus you get versus just saying, okay, we're doing monster action and horror, and that's it. So that, I think, is interesting because, with these first 2 episodes, I don't think we have a clear picture of exactly what the season's identity is going to be, but we have clues.
Yes. And, I don't want to say that he sounds like a person who's working in the horror realm who doesn't want to do horror stuff, but he's not entirely wrong that you do need a strong dramatic backbone in order to ground the narrative, to give people something to watch, because the xenomorph doesn't talk. It has a kind of personality, but not the kind that's going to give you an episode, never mind 8 episodes of television. So we need to kind of have more things to explore within this world, and then the xenomorph gets dropped into the middle of it.
Exactly. Well, the xenomorph and then some, because there are multiple different creatures in this show, which I knew, that was one thing I knew going into it, because the trailer had made it very clear this is it's like a zoo kind of thing. And
yes,
boy, oh boy, I can't wait to see more of these creatures, assuming we do get more of these creatures.
I think we will, but yes, the second episode definitely suggests one will be taking front and center. And of course, that is the xenomorph. But as we said, I think the timeline will allow us to spend a bit more time on this ship, which is, yes, the specimens have gotten out of the lab and the shenanigans have begun.
So I kind of like glossed over your question when you asked this, but yeah, so like, do you think that we're going to be kind of spending most of the first season almost in this scenario on this ship?
I could definitely see it.
I thought the same thing.
We're getting a taste of this like new Siam city that is set on like a Prodigy owned world, and Prodigy is this upstart corporation that is in a giant power struggle with Weyland Yutani among other corporations. But I'm going to be super curious if we will start to branch out in later episodes to go into the city and involve like citizens and so on. Because even when we were talking about, I mean, yes, I said Fede Alvarez because we've had some issues with the way that he did Alien Romulus, where it felt like it was just aping, James Cameron as well as Ridley Scott. So I like the stuff that he did on that home world. So part of me is like, ooh, what if I get that, which is what I was missing from Romulus, only with the xenomorph out and about and like causing chaos.
So I agree, but I'm not gonna. This might be a controversial statement. I actually thought that the creature stuff in this second episode was better than most of the creature stuff we got in Alien Romulus.
I think maybe that's going to be controversial for some people, but I agree with you.
Yeah, again, like, y'all can go back and listen to the episode. I liked Alien Romulus, but I also wasn't particularly blown away by it. It was very by the numbers for me in a way that this one, because it's Hawley and because I know what he did with, I mean, he's already adapted a film into a television series with Fargo, and I know he won't treat the movies as gospel because he's very much still going to do his own thing, even though he shows a reverence for the films.
Yeah, like he's not going to shit on them, even if that quote was a little bit shady, but I think it's mostly like, I'm not so beholden to it that I'm not going to still do my own thing, which to me is the right way to approach IP, because you're never going to make all the fans happy. And if you're trying to slot yourself in like a Tetris game to fit the mythology, it feels like a bit of a loser's game. So in some ways he's saying, I'm taking my piece out. It still works within this world, but it doesn't fit in where it's like, watch this sequentially to get the whole story.
Today's episode is presented by Texas Chainsaw Day. For one night only, on August 18th, the 4K restoration of Tobe Hooper's seminal horror masterpiece, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, will return to theaters nationwide. This special event will include a sneak peek of Chain Reactions, an upcoming documentary about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise directed by Alexander O'Philippe. This award-winning documentary features Stephen King, Patton Oswalt, Karen Kusama, Takashi Miike, and Alexandra Heller-Nicholas. The night will also include a short video produced by Bloody Disgusting, an appetizer, if you will. Don't miss your chance to see the 1974 horror classic on the big screen. Dress up as Leatherface and get your tickets now at fathom.com.